Hey, this is Troy from Planet 76. We've got some really good Sixers-focused content coming your way today. Make sure you subscribe to the pod so you can be in the know when we release new content. Enjoy the show.
Welcome, everybody, to Planet 76 podcast. My name is Michael, and Troy is here as well with me, as usual. If you missed it, we did have Mark Zumoff last week, which was...
Mark Zumoff?
We've been doing this podcast for the better part of essentially 3 years now, 3.5 years now, and I can with confidence say that was probably the best moment of the podcast. It was certainly one of, if not my favorite episodes that we've ever done, and I don't say that lightly. I don't take that lightly, so I mean it, and that means I would love if you went to go check out that episode. If you're currently watching and or listening, go check out that episode of Planet 76, our episode we posted on last week, which was, actually, it was only on Thursday. No, it was Tuesday of last week.
Yeah, 6 days
Tuesday the 17th. So make sure you guys check that out. Pause this right now. Go watch that one, and then you can come back and watch this one.
That's right.
So, Planet 76. It's funny, Troy and I were discussing this literally 2 minutes ago before we hit record. This season has just been so weird for podcasting, and I'm sure I can speak. Troy and I don't really speak to a ton of other Sixers podcasters much, but I think I can say with some degree of confidence that this season has been weird for Sixers podcasting, and obviously it's been a weird Sixers season in general. Embiid was ejected tonight. Andre Drummond got hurt. He came back. It's almost like as soon as the Sixers' big three gets any chance to play together, something happens. Embiid gets ejected. Everybody's saying, Embiid can't stay on the court. Embiid can't stay on the court. But he gets ejected. He gets 2 technical fouls and is removed, ejected from the game. How do you explain that? He can't stay on the court. Oh. All this old man yells at kids on his lawn thing. How are you going to say anything when there are factors out of his control that are forcing him, quite literally, forcing him out of games? What are you going to say to that? I think that's a really unfair conclusion to come to regarding Embiid. So, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to kick it to Troy. Troy, what? I don't have much.
You said it. I mean, it's such a weird season, and it just continues. You know, we keep thinking stability's going to come. We're going to, you and I are going to record a normal episode talking about a healthy Sixers team, playing well, winning games. And the weird thing to throw into the mix of all the chaos that's been going on, injury-wise, ejections tonight. Like, Sixers have won 7 of 10. And so
what are they, 3 from the 6th seed right now? Where are they at?
Yeah, I mean they're right there within striking distance of the play-in and beyond, and so that's a good thing. But again, at the same time, there's just a lot of confusion and a lot of things going on that don't make sense, or just like misfortune, or however you want to say it. And we saw something. I mean, tonight was a weird game in the first half, and then the fourth quarter was just wildly entertaining as the Sixers get the win over the Spurs, 111-106. We saw something that I've never seen. As many games of basketball I've watched, you've watched a lot of basketball. Andre Drummond ejected and then not ejected, and then Embiid gets the 2 technicals and he's tossed. He absolutely lost it. And then the Sixers played basketball in the second half, and Tyrese Maxey helped them secure a victory, 32 points, 10 boards, and 8 assists for him. Wemby had a quiet offensive night to start, and then he finished with 26, 9 rebounds, and 8 blocks.
8
Pretty
blocks.
sensational stuff from him. So just a wild game, but the Sixers do win, and again, they're winners of 7 of 10. And to me, that you just chalk that up to how crazy, weird, fascinating this season has been that the Sixers are now winning some games, which we love to see, but they're still, you think about it. I think Embiid, Maxey, and George have played 5 games together, and if my memory serves me right, 3 of those ended prematurely, because there was an injury or there was an ejection. So like they still haven't played together. How do you, we'll get into some other stuff. But how do you kind of try to make sense of all of this, or what's pressing on your mind that, again, we're trending a little bit upward, but there's still some chaos going on?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to make sense of this. There isn't really much sense we can make from this. Trending upward, sure. The Sixers are 14 games back from the 1 seed, but they're 3.5 games back from the 6 seed Atlanta Hawks. So I think we talked about this, obviously not last episode. That was with Mark Zumoff. Maybe 2 episodes or 3 episodes ago. Speaks volumes to how poor the Eastern Conference is. Poverty conference. And this is nothing particularly new. The East has been fairly bad the past couple seasons, and I don't know how I don't know what the chances are that changes. I don't know how likely it is that changes. Clearly not this season. The Sixers are 3.5 games from the 6th seed. So, after all this, trade Embiid, fire Nick Nurse, they're only 3.5 games from the 6th seed. Now, obviously, again, the 6th seed is not necessarily where you want to be. You're out of the play-in, sure, but you want a higher seed than that, obviously. However, the fact that after all this, they're still only 3.5 games from the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference, and the season isn't even halfway over. We're just about a quarter past the season. The Sixers are what? Let me check. 10-17, 27 games. We're about 3 games, 4 games from the quarter mark of the season. And the Sixers are still right there. I don't know about you, but to me, it seems as though the concerns have been wildly over-exaggerated. And we talked about this in great lengths the first few episodes of this season. We talked about it. We're going to continue to talk about it. It's been a common theme for this team for the past couple of years, at least since we started the podcast, has been a theme is, let's just overreact to the first 20 games. This team sucks. Trade Embiid, fire the coach. It's every single year like clockwork. You can almost predict when it's going to happen because you know it's going to. It's a given at this point with Sixers fans nowadays. You can almost predict when it's going to happen. So it seems to me as the concerns have been wildly over-exaggerated with this team.
Agreed. Winning just helps.
Winning helps,
heals
sure. Yeah.
A lot of things, and even if you just put it down to tonight's game against the Spurs, wild game, Embiid's tossed. Let's say the Sixers, this was a back and forth game in the fourth quarter, anybody's game. Let's say Sixers lose. That could be a very different environment in the locker room than it ended up being. Maybe people are pointing fingers at Embiid. People are doing this. People are doing that. And now, hopefully, a win kind of helped that, even just on a small scale. But winning like they've been doing over the couple last couple weeks is a big deal. Now it has helped to play the Charlotte Hornets so often because 4 of their 10 wins have come against the Charlotte Hornets, which is wild. So if we can get them on the schedule a little more, that would be good. But it's just winning helps, and the team needs to continue to win. I think the question again that I kind of already touched on that we're still wondering is, when is stability going to come? Now I get that Embiid, George, and Maxey were all in the lineup today. They've all been around recently since Embiid came back from his injury, but today wasn't stable at all by any means. And it's one thing after another. If it's not an injury, it's an ejection. If it's not an ejection, it's an illness. Tyrese Maxey was sick coming into today's game, so it's going to come, but we just don't know when. And I'm kind of done trying to predict when that's going to come, because even when there is stability, it's going to take some time for those guys to get used to playing together. They simply have not played together yet, which we're 27 games into the season. That's crazy to say. It's unprecedented. What we're dealing with, especially the two of us, 3.5 years of Sixers podcasting, this is a very different ball game for us. And so excuse us if we don't know exactly what to say sometimes through this, but it's been wild. Another thing, Jared McCain now out for the season with his torn meniscus.
Yeah.
Hate to see that. I don't know if you want to touch on that, but I also, I'll kind of give you the floor a little bit with a little guidance from what I was kind of wanting to get at was, Guerschon Yabusele was phenomenal tonight. He's been very good. He's been stable. KJ Martin's had some good, minutes in the starting lineup too. And so I don't know if you want to talk about any of those guys and what they've brought to the Sixers so far.
Give me 1 second. I gotta readjust here. I would say, as far as Jared McCain goes, we've obviously with Jared McCain, I think he's a guy you can't really talk too much about because he just has a really unique and, quite frankly, very aesthetically pleasing, productive as well, skill set. But with Jared McCain being out for the season, essentially more or less confirmed, it sucks. He played a big role for this team, despite being a rookie, despite never having played in the NBA. Duh. He played a huge role. He, again, a lot of his production from Duke translated super well to the NBA, especially, again, with the jump shooting, the three-point shooting, the quick release, his willingness to shoot. He found a lot of success very early. He was very productive. That sucks because he was a bright spot for this team the first couple weeks of the season. Somebody's going to have to perhaps replace that. Now, again, having George, Embiid, and Maxey back is gonna essentially erase that because you're not relying on Jared McCain anymore. You're relying on the players who are supposed to be there, who you're supposed to be relying on in your big three. So, Jared McCain, huge blow. And that's not something that's a hot take, not something that's uncommon, that we're dropping this huge revelation of news. As far as a couple of the other guys, Guerschon, again, I'm really a big fan of what Guerschon's been able to do this year. He's carved out a nice little niche for himself on this team as far as physicality goes, rebounding. He's kind of that power guy. He can get up, catch lobs, just be a physical presence on both ends of the floor, and that's something that's really valuable in the NBA today, especially from your bigs. A lot of bigs in the NBA are kind of soft. They want to, sit out on the perimeter and shoot threes. Now, Guerschon does do that, I will say. It's fine because he complements it well with a nice ability to get to the paint and get to the rim, attack the basket off the catch. So, Guerschon's been big. And, nothing new from Guerschon. We know this. We knew this already based on his first few games with the team. You said Caleb Martin, too?
Right.
Did you mention Caleb Martin?
I mentioned KJ, but Caleb
KJ.
too. Go ahead.
I will refrain from talking about Caleb Martin because I feel like I'll say some not so nice things, and I don't want to do that because I'm still giving him time because he's still a new guy on the squad.
Yeah.
Caleb Martin is a work in progress, so we'll leave it at that. KJ Martin, big fan. That's it. I'm a big fan of KJ Martin. I like what he brings. I like his kind of like a Guerschon-esque thing going on. He's big. He plays big. He rebounds. He's tough. He can score fairly well, actually, a lot better than I remember him being able to. I think didn't he drop 30 a couple weeks ago? Did we talk about that?
He ain't get 30, did he?
I thought he had 30. 20?
I gotta look now. I'm going.
Hold on. I swear he had 30.
But I will say this with KJ, he's last year his minutes were just so inconsistent, and now he's finally, again due to injuries and other things, he's finally getting an opportunity to play. He had 20 a couple weeks ago.
So it was 20. It was 20.
19. Yeah, he had a 9 for 10, 20.
He's shooting 40% from 3. Only on 0.9 attempts.
Yeah, he's knocking down some threes.
Only 0.9 attempts per game, but I'll take it.
He's making a few of them.
Yeah,
which is good. Yeah, I think he's. We've always known what he could do, as far as his athletic abilities off the charts, and he's just finally getting an opportunity to play, which is really, really good for him. And I'm not upset about it that he's he started tonight. he's getting an opportunity and making the most of it, just like Guerschon is. And the thing with Guerschon, like tonight, I mean, he was he was unbelievable. He had 17, I think, and he had 4 steals. He was guarding Wemby, and like they tried a couple at least 2 times. They tried an entry pass into Wemby, and Guerschon just fought and got a hand on it and got the steal. It was very, very impressive, and it's that kind of effort that you need from a glue guy like that. He's the definition of that.
Yep.
And it was good to see him knock down some shots tonight because he was struggling earlier, in this month, but knocking down some shots is huge. So, KJ Martin, again, tonight he only played 20 minutes, but he had been getting a little bit. He'd been getting 25, 26, 27 minutes a game over the last month, collecting a few rebounds and scoring the ball a little bit too. He's 65% from the floor. We know a lot of that's dunks, but hey, we'll take it.
Yeah.
All right. So there are some bright spots. There are weird spots. There are bad things too that the Sixers have been faced with. Again, whether it's a fluke injury, whether it's illness or this or that, there's been a lot of adversity, and yet we're trending upward somehow. Because again, we still have absolutely no idea of this team's full potential, and we're 27 games in, and yet that's a kind of we're in a not in a good spot, but we're in a good spot, if you know what I mean, by considering what they've gone through and what they've been up against. Give them another 27 games, and we'll see what we're saying after game 54 about this team.
And I love how you mentioned that. I want to further emphasize the importance of the 82 game season. There's still nearly 60 games left to be played, 55, I guess, games left to be played. That can't be overstated. You can't overstate the importance of having an extra 50-plus games to get things right. Because, again, even if the Sixers end the season, 48-32, that's not right. 48-34.
We could be 40 and 42.
40-42.
42-40, something like that.
42-40. Dude, even if they end the season 42-40, okay, that's not very favorable record-wise. You're probably the 5th or 6th seed. After all this, they end up 42-40. Are you kidding? After all this, they won 32 of their last whatever. I don't know how. I can't do math right now.
50-something games.
Yeah, I mean, listen. In reality, and this is really easy for me to say because we see it all the time in the NBA. In reality, if you have your best players for playoff time, it doesn't really matter where you end up. We've seen it. We've seen it unfold. Sure, maybe not so much recently.
Yep.
But a good example, a very modern example, I mean, I guess not really that modern, but somewhat modern, is the Heat in 2020. Or whatever. What year was that? They made the finals again and against the Nuggets. No. What year was that? 2 years ago? 2 years ago.
They've had a couple runs, but the finals was 2022, I guess.
And were they the 8th seed?
Yep.
Right. We've seen it. Not saying we want the Sixers to be the 8th seed. Not saying we want them to be in the play-in. But if it happens, I give them a great chance. As long as Embiid, Paul George, and Maxey are healthy. I give them an amazing chance. That was 2023. Right, that's what
it is. We're days away from 2025, my friend.
But still,
that's crazy.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah. Crazy.
I give them a great chance. So,
yep.
Again, we have a lot of games to be played. There's a lot of time, thousands of minutes to be played. Well, maybe not thousands, but hundreds of minutes to be played. I'm still optimistic. I'm still not being all of this, let's tank for Cooper Flag. Yeah. Okay. That'd be fun, I guess, but at the same time it's if you can compete, why would you not compete? This roster was built for the Sixers to be able to compete. So, if you can do it, you should. And there's a lot of time left for the Sixers to be able to do that.
Yep. Yeah, but it's a very, very, very different conversation if we're sitting here at 10-17 and Embiid and George and Maxey have all played 25, 26, 27 games and they're just struggling to mesh and all these things. Like, that's not what this is. And the hope is,
in fact, it's quite the opposite.
I mean, yeah, exactly. What more can you ask for than, kind of what you just stated? If, we're around 500, we get a 6 seed in the playoffs, and we're healthy, and winners of 30 of 45 to finish this down the stretch, whatever it is. Like, I mean, that's no one's going to want to play the Sixers. No one.
No.
So that's, I mean, you and I know this. I don't know. Can't speak for everybody else, but I know you and I would have said that, and maybe we did in October. Like, that's what matters. Like, that is what matters. We probably did. We're just that good. But it's true. Like, that's what matters. And again, is that guaranteed that Embiid's going to be healthy in the playoffs? Nope. But if he is, and this team just gets into the playoffs, I'm good with it. Let's roll, because this team is constructed to make a run and make some noise. So
if you have Embiid, you're going to have a good chance. We've seen it.
Yeah.
We've seen it.
Yeah. So we'll take our chances. We'll finish with this. Sixers do have a Christmas Day matchup for the first time in a few years.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Albeit at TD Garden against the Boston Celtics at 5 o'clock on ABC Christmas Day. Any thoughts on, not necessarily asking for a prediction or anything like that, but it's a special game, Christmas Day. Any thoughts on that? You're looking forward to it, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. The Sixers haven't had a Christmas Day game. Dude, it's been a few years.
The last one I remember
since they've had a Christmas Day game
was I remember 2019 against the Bucks. I think they may have played someone more recently than that, but yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while since they've had a Christmas Day game, and I'm excited. Like, obviously, they're gonna get the doors blown off them if Embiid and PG don't play. But like, the fact that they have a Christmas Day game is cool. Objectively speaking, it's cool. I don't really care who they trot out. They could bring up the entire Bluecoats roster and play them that day. Like, I'm cool with that because it's the Sixers playing on Christmas Day, something that, one, they haven't been able to do in a few years, and two, only like 8 teams get to say they do that every year. Right. So I think that's really cool in and of itself. And, yeah, I mean, I'll probably tune in unless I'm asleep. I don't know what's going to happen that day. Yeah, but, who knows? Yeah, you gotta work your schedule around the Sixers. Yeah, it's a 5 o'clock game. I think that'll bode well. Depends on what your family does for dinner and stuff. I don't know, but we'll see. Right, but yeah, I'm excited. I think it's a cool honor, regardless of who the Sixers are actually able to get suit up for that game. Yeah, it's fun. I agree. I'm glad it's not a back-to-back. I'm glad at least I mean they played tonight, but next game's Wednesday. Just gotta trek on up to Boston, see what happens, and it'll be fun. Christmas Day, regardless, like you said, I like the way you put that. It is an honor. It'll be a cool thing. So be on the lookout for that. Sixers fans, again, 5 o'clock ABC Christmas Day against the Boston Celtics, who just lost tonight to the Orlando Magic, so they'll be a little mad about that. They'll probably try and shoot up about 75 threes on Christmas Day, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, again, like Michael said to open our last episode, if you somehow skipped that part, missed that part, episode 166 was with the one and only Mark Zumoff, 27 years as the Sixers play-by-play announcer, and we got to chat with him a little bit. So definitely, if you haven't already, go check that one out. Check it out. Super fun. Just thank you to Mark Zumoff for coming on and hanging out with us for a little bit. So super cool. And again, this is episode 1. If that's 166, that would make this 167, as long as those numbers are correct. Which I think they are. We will see you next time on Planet 76. Have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you soon. You just listened to an episode of the Planet 76 podcast. Hey, we appreciate you joining us for this episode. Whatever platform you're on, why don't you hit that subscribe button for us, and we'll see you next time.